Hello, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Daily, presented to you by FanArch. I'm your host, Kirk MckNight, author of The Voices of Hockey, Broadcasters Reflect on the Fastest Game on Earth. It's available on Audible and on Apple Books in that audio format. Audible, it's about $16. On Apple Books, it's about $9.99. If you're looking to tide yourself over with something while the Red Wings are out of action this next week, I would say try that. It's 12 hours of NHL insanity brought to you by 65 play-by-play broadcasters sharing their most memorable experiences, discussing 35 NHL teams past and present. That's the plug. Coming to you from the southwest corner of Washington State, 2,454 miles from Little Caesars Arena. Now, like I already mentioned, we're about a week out from our first game back from the hiatus, taking on the Ottawa Senators. In the meantime, we still got some Olympic hockey left to be played. There were 4 games yesterday, and 3 of them went to overtime. The one game that didn't go to overtime was Slovakia-Germany. Slovakia basically took care of Germany 6-2. That means that Mo Seider is out of the tournament, so that's 1 down, 2 to go for the Red Wings. Didn't even get an assist on either of the 2 goals for Germany. Slovakia had 2 goals by Regenda, and Keleman had 1 goal. So did O'Killier, Dvorsky, and Tomas Tatar. So good for you, Tomas Tatar, being in the semifinals right now. You're not playing in the NHL, but you're in the semifinals. Hats off to you. I'm glad to see you competing well and doing well and basically representing your country. So that puts Slovakia in the semifinals. Slovakia is the 3 seed, so it would basically, depending on who won out of the other 3 or 4 games, really determine who Slovakia would play. Well, the U.S. beat Sweden in overtime, so that is one of the 3 overtime games. First goal of the night, scored by Larks. Finally got on the board as far as scoring a goal. He had an assist, basically in the round of 3 and all that, but this was his first goal, and it basically stood until about minute and 15, minute 20 left to go in the third period. That's when Zibanejad scored the game-tying goal, assisted by Raymond. We'll talk about Raymond's stats in just a minute in the leaderboard, but there we go. Now it's basically become a one-shot game as far as next one past the goaltender makes it. Well, a few minutes into overtime, Quinn Hughes scores the game winner, assisted by Matt Boldy and Austin Matthews, and the U.S. survives, and Sweden goes home. And I did think that it was going to be Sweden. I didn't realize the way the path would be set, but obviously Sweden didn't get the higher seed as a result of losing when they did. I believe they lost to Finland, and that basically shot them down from what I thought would be a number 4 seed eventually to being the 7 seed. I honestly thought, like I said, that the top 2 or 3 was going to be U.S., Canada, and Sweden. Well, that just threw that right out the window. So there we go, Slovakia, U.S. playing for the semifinal on Friday. The other 2 games, both overtime games. Finland beat Switzerland 3-2. They overcame a 0-2 deficit. Basically, we're losing, Switzerland scored their 2 goals in the first period, kind of held on, nothing doing in the second. And then, yes, Finland overcame their 0-2 hole with 2 goals by Aho and Heiskanen, and then they got the game winner by Lehkonen in overtime. The 2 goals scored by Switzerland were done by Riat and Niederreiter. So there you have number 4 moving on. That leaves number 1 versus number 8. That's right. Czechia versus Canada. And did Canada find themselves in a position they did not think they would, at least this early in the tournament, not finding it in the quarterfinals? But yes, they were down 3-2 to Czechia. Opening goals, basically. Let's go by this. Here we go. Czechia had goals by Sedlak, Pasternak, and Palat. Palat's goal basically put them up 3-2 in the third. Celebrini actually opened the scoring of the game for Canada, and then McKinnon had a goal. But yeah, like I said, Palat's goal put the team in the lead. Suzuki had a game-tying goal, and then Mitch Marner had the game winner in overtime. And Mitch Marner's goal, honestly, I don't know if the goaltender for Czechia really expected a shot to come out of this, but he certainly didn't expect it to go up over him into the top shelf. Bad break for Czechia. Good break for Canada, obviously. So number 1 survives. They will take on Finland on Friday. So there we have it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The seeds are placed. Top goes to the top seed plays basically the highest seed remaining. That's 4. and then obviously the scraps go to the 2 and 3. So it'll be interesting to see how things go on on Friday. We'll obviously be talking about it on Monday's show. The games won't have been played tomorrow when I start, but in the meantime, plenty of hockey still left to be played. At least four games left to go. We got 2 semifinals and a final and a consolation. So great hockey so far. Obviously no upsets in this particular round. And I don't believe there were any upsets in the preliminaries. Like I said, I think all the seeds, that were supposed to win got it. So the surprises really started early in the tournament, like Finland getting beat by Slovakia. But honestly, that doesn't look like that much of a surprise anymore, does it? With Slovakia being the number 3 right now and Finland being the 4. So obviously you would say that wasn't an upset based on seeding, but it wasn't thought out like that and foreseen like that. Let's talk a little bit about the leaders so far in the Olympics. A lot of them were Canadian. Big surprise, right? Celebrini with 5 goals. There you go. That's 1. McDavid with 11 points. That's 2. And he has 9 assists. That's 3. But Raymond was right behind. Raymond's done. Two Red Wings down, 1 to go. So Raymond was done with 9 points. So 2 behind McDavid. And he with 8 assists, 1 behind McDavid. Going on, Celebrini and Tays. That's Devon Tays. They both have a plus or minus of +9 to lead that category specifically. Joel Eriksson Ek leads the shots with 23, but Slafkovsky and McDavid are the only 2 that have 20-plus shots on goal that are still going to go on in the tournament. So they'll probably pass Joel Eriksson Ek in this next game. Going over to the goaltending side of the stats, Binnington, Hellebuck, and Saros all have 3 wins, and they're obviously looking for more. Lavat is 4th in saves, and he's the only goalie that's still standing that has more than 100 saves. Speaking of Hellebuck, the only goaltender who has a higher save percentage than Hellebuck is Logan Thompson at .960, but Logan Thompson's only played 1 game. Hellebuck's played 3, and his save percentage is .958. So 0.002 of a difference between the 2, and look how much more time that that Hellebuck's been playing than Logan Thompson. Obviously, he has become the X factor for the U.S. in these closer games, and they're just going to get closer and closer. I mean, this sounds like a comment Stephen A. Smith would make. The deeper you get in the competition, the stiffer it gets. It's true. Like, obviously, the U.S. are going to have they have a tougher slate ahead of them playing Slovakia. The seeds are getting, the numbers are getting lower and lower as they get deeper and deeper. If all goes as planned, it's going to be, beating 3 and then going up against 1. But you know what? If anything taught us anything yesterday, that anything can happen, and it becomes a one-shot game either way, and you just never know. It's kind of like when Ottawa was playing the Penguins in the 2017 Eastern Conference Final, going to double overtime in Game 7. I mean, that decides who goes to the Stanley Cup Final right there. Anyway, so ours, obviously, just talking about the leaderboard, I feel like Binnington's kind of showed a little bit of the chink in his armor right now with that 3 goals he gave up yesterday. Hellebuck is looking like the more solid goaltender, and that's something that hopefully the U.S. doesn't have to carry too much on their shoulders. Hopefully they can give him a little bit more support in these next 2 games moving forward, whether that be the semifinal and the gold medal round or the semifinal and the consolation. Just basically, if they can give him some support, and that'll put them in that gold medal game to see who takes on, Canada, Finland. But we will pause Olympic hockey talk and go right to Throwback Thursday. Today we're going to discuss May 29th, 2002. The Statue of Liberty dooms Patrick Waugh. This was Game 6 of the Western Conference Final in 2002. Peter Forsberg scored the game-winning goal in overtime in Detroit in Game 5 to basically put the Avalanche ahead 3-2 going back to Denver. About 20 seconds left to go in the first period, or the first period, right? This wasn't like a last second kind of thing that blows it, but Yzerman comes around, tries to put a shot on net. Waugh catches with his glove and looks to basically, a lot of people debate whether or not he was showboating or what. He was just probably kind of like saying, look, I saved it. You know, an easier way to do that, Waugh? Just fall on it. If the ref doesn't see it, he blows a whistle and you get a face off. You don't have to show the ref like a hand, like you're like seriously like holding out a slug in the forest. Like because of that, he's like goes to raise his hand with it. The puck trickles out of his glove onto the crease, and Brendan Shanahan comes by and just puts it right in. 1-0 Detroit going into the first. There was only 18 seconds left to go in the first. There we go. It's in Wa's head. He doesn't recuperate from it. McCarty scores an extra insurance goal in the second period. Hasek, the last goal that Hasek allowed in that conference final was that Forsberg goal in overtime because he did not allow a single goal in Game 6 or Game 7. This probably got into Wa's head. This gaff, the Statue of Liberty is what they call it. And we all know what happens in Game 7. Basically, on I think 16 shots, he gave up 6 goals. Didn't even make it into like 6 minutes into the second period before they finally pulled him after goal 6. He had to watch the Red Wings just celebrate right there. Basically, the countdown it would become for about 35 minutes or so of hockey. It was a countdown as soon as it was 2 or 3 nothing. Maybe even a countdown at 1 nothing, considering the fact that Hasek was just unstoppable. They call him the Dominator for a reason. So I like to look back on this as that turning point in that series that put that Code Red Hall of Fame Red Wings team in the driver's seat to go to the Stanley Cup final eventually and basically win 4-1 against the Carolina Hurricanes. Still one player, I think, on that squad that is left to basically get the Hall of Fame nod, and that's Chris Osgood. So back to the present day. We already mentioned the fact that Larkin scored a goal for the first time in yesterday's win over Sweden. And I kind of want to think of this as a way to translate into the last 24 games of the NHL season for Larkin, because I think he got a little bit of a monkey off his back. You know, we've seen all the scoring done by Boldy and, you know, Brady Tkachuk, basically, you know, and here, there, and everywhere. Tage Thompson's been doing great, and players like Quinn Hughes, obviously, and all these guys scoring, and Larkin only had an assist. To get that goal to basically put the United States on the board, obviously, hopefully brought a lot of confidence to him, and he stayed out of the penalty box. I've been noticing that Larkin's found himself in the penalty box a couple of times here or there down the stretch. Don't give yourself a divot to have to replace. We already know you're probably going to score. Don't even start with the divot. Just start with the score. Don't go in the box, give them a chance to go up a goal or whatever. Just stay clean. Get the goal that we all know you're going to get and just be in the plus there. You know, we'll look at this as a golf score, and that your handicap is you know, doing all the work for you. So today, that has been Red Wings Daily. Tomorrow we'll try to wrap up the week and kind of give a little preview of the 2 semifinal games, and then we'll try to delve into a little bit here or there of some spotlight and basically some food for thought over the weekend. Until then, I'm your host, Kirk MckNight. This has been Red Wings Daily, presented to you by FanArch, LGRW from the PNW.